Hi, I'm Old Norse specialist Dr. Jackson Crawford. I've talked many times on this channel about the ways that Old Norse is related to other languages, specifically the Germanic languages of Northern Europe, including English and German. There's not actually much left, though, of the mythology of, say, the English and German speakers before they converted to Christianity. Often we just have to infer that it was something similar to their Norse-speaking cousins, because it's only in Iceland in Old Norse that we have any actual written, cohesive, well-preserved stories of the pre-Christian gods. But there are tiny, tiny hints here and there in poetry in Old English and Old High German and Old Saxon or Old Low German that mention the gods, and one of the most important and interesting is the Second Merseburg Charm in Old High German. So there are two Merseburg charms. I'm going to be looking at the second one in this video. The Merseburg charms were presented to the public by Jakob Grimm of the Grimm brothers in 1842. He found them on page 85R of Codex 136 in the collection of the Merseburg Cathedral Library in Eastern Germany. Now, this manuscript was written in about 900, and the text of the Second Merseburg Charm shows some mixed northern and southern features. So it's got some features that look a little bit more like Old Saxon or Old Low German in addition to the Southern or Old High German forms. Let's take a quick look at what the text is in the manuscript in Old High German. Now, I have studied Old High German quite a bit, but I am not a Germanist. I'm an Old Norse specialist, so I will pronounce this as well as I can practically infer it ought to be pronounced from my knowledge of Germanic linguistics, but there may be things Germanists can quibble with. Here we go. Full in the wodan, forun si holza, du warts demo baldris follon sin fots birankit. Thu bigwol en sintgunt, sunna era swister, thu bigwol en fria, folla era swister, thu bigwol en wodan, so he wollakonda, so se ben ranki, so se blot ranki, so se lid ranki, ben si bena, blot si bloda, lid si glitten, so se glimata si. Now, what have we got here? After a word from my sponsor, I'll give you my own English translation of this text. So Fol, a name that is not otherwise known, but may represent a masculine companion or equivalent to the known figure of Folla 3 lines later. Fol and Wodan. Wodan is the German form of Old Norse Odin. Both of these are from Proto-Germanic Wodanaz, I've discussed in another video. If you're on YouTube, I'll put it in a card at the top right now, how these different forms arise. Fol and Wodan went to the forest. Then the foot of Balder's horse was sprained, blanket. This is related to modern German flanken, dislocator, sprain, and actually the English wrench, like a joint gets wrenched out of place. Of course, there we have the name of the god Balder, not otherwise known outside of Scandinavia except in this poem, interestingly. Then Sintgunt. Now, this is a female name that is otherwise completely unattested in any of our sources in any Germanic language. In fact, the meaning of the name isn't even very clear. I've wondered if it might mean something like travel fight if it would therefore be equivalent to something like Old Norse Singun, but no one can be confident what this means because this name only occurs right here. So then Sintgunt, and notice in the manuscript it is spelled S-I-N-H-T-G-U-N-T. You'll see it's spelled S-I-N-T-H-G-U-N-T online and in most editions, but I'm just showing you what the manuscript shows here. So Sintgunt, whoever this is, sang or cast a spell. Sunna's sister of Sunna. Now Sunna, that would be the sun. This poem is almost single-handedly responsible for the notion that there is a Norse goddess named Sunna. But notice this isn't even Old Norse, it's Old High German. And in Old Norse, soul or sun is only very inconsistently described as being a living being, and more often seems not to be a being or deity. Then Fria, now this looks like Old Norse Froya, but is actually the cognate of Old Norse Frigg. I keep going back between these German-style R's and Trill-type R's. I'm confused by all the German I'm thinking about. Frigg. Now, her name, Frigg, that those two G's come from two J's in earlier Proto-Germanic. If I were to spell the name here in Old High German phonetically, I would actually have spelled it F-R-I-J-A, and that J is the remnant of the two J's that become the two G's in the Old Norse word. By regular linguistics, this is Frigg, not Froya. We would actually expect Froya's name to be something like Frau, lady or woman, which is the cognate word in modern German. So Frigg sang or cast a spell. Fola's sister. Now that's interesting because Fola is Frigg's servant and messenger in the Eddas, our Norse sources of Norse mythology. So there's her name, attested outside Scandinavia too. And then Wodan sang or cast a spell, as he well could, like bone sprain, like blood sprain or blood injury, like limb sprain, bone to bone, blood to blood, limb to limb, like they were limed or mortared, right? You mortar something together, lime it together, like glue it together. So there's not necessarily mythical content here, right? Actually, magical charms about supernatural beings traveling together, a foot being broken, and then there being some kind of charm about healing the foot of the horse that's been broken, are quite common in all the Germanic-speaking countries, some Slavic-speaking countries, and there's even very similar practices in Celtic, Indic, and even Finnish culture. This was a pretty common formula type of little healing chant. So you could try to construct like a specific myth about Baldur's horse and how it might break its foot in some significant moment in his story, but that's probably not really what's happening here. It's not really a story. It's just a common type of healing chant that is being told with the names of Norse gods rather than, say, with Christian saints. Often in Christian versions of this, it's like St. Paul and Jesus who are traveling together and one of their horses breaks a foot. But nonetheless, in 900, somewhere in Germany, there was nobody who knew anything about Scandinavia, right? I mean, other than some vague notions about the Vikings as raiders on the coast. They didn't know about Norse mythology. This is a native transmission of the names, at least, of the same gods that we find in the Eddas, and it testifies that even though we've lost the mythology of these beings in German, it once existed, and we can pretty confidently say that whatever, say, German or English or Dutch mythology was before the conversion to Christianity, it was related to Norse mythology. Well, I hope that's been an interesting, informative look at this little medieval ditty for you. Now let me make a quick PSA here. I know many people are, and I'm flattered that many people are interested in coming to the University of Colorado to study with me or take my classes. But remember, as discussed in several videos, I am leaving the Nordic program at the end of spring 2020, so I will no longer be teaching classes like Norse mythology, Icelandic sagas at CU. If those classes continue to be taught at CU, they'll be taught by somebody else. I will no longer have any association with the Nordic program. I will still be at the University of Colorado in an unpaid position as resident scholar, and hopefully During this period, I'll have more time to make these videos, which of course reach more people than any classroom ever will. Work on my upcoming translations, such as the Prose Edda, and work on my class in Norse mythology for the grade courses. But please don't come here thinking that I run some Hogwarts for Old Norse. I don't, and you're not going to find that anywhere, actually. There really aren't any good jobs teaching this stuff, and I need to try to make a living. And actually, given the lack of rewards in teaching this stuff in a conventional way in classrooms, I need to take the time away from the classroom to work on these projects that really reach the people that are interested in this stuff, the videos, the books, and now great courses. All right. Well, as always, for beautiful Colorado, let me wish you all the best and good health and the best to you and yours during this whole coronavirus situation in April 2020. All the best. The whole point of this video channel, the whole point of my books, is to bring good information about these subjects to the people who want it in the places where they're looking for it online. Otherwise, the people who know what they're talking about are all trying to impress each other, talking to each other in the ivory tower, and they're never reaching out to the public. The people who are reaching out to the public on YouTube or wherever else mostly are scared, angry people trying to spread centuries-old, cartoonish, racialist theories and crazy mysticism that has nothing to do with our medieval sources. I want to bring good information about our real medieval sources straight to you in the places where you're looking for it, without an agenda, without trying to set myself up as some ivory tower super genius who's better than you. You can help me do that by donating small monthly amounts on my Patreon. And everyone who does that has my everlasting thanks for your incredible generosity and the way that you help me make a university of my favorite place in the world, the Great Rocky Mountain Outdoors. Well, from the middle of beautiful Colorado, let me wish you good thinking, good skepticism, and all the very best.